Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's Friday, February the 1st. Holy cow, it's a whole new month, Heidi. It's a whole new month. You know what I'm going to sing? Okay. It's National Freedom Day. It's National Get Up Day. National Baked Alaska Day, National Serpent Day, National Texas Day, National Wear Red Day, that is the first Friday in February, which happens to be today, and it is National Bubblegum Day. So all of those things happening. I think that's kind of cool. There's some fun stuff to celebrate today. I would chew some bubblegum while wearing
I
your
will
red.
celebrate Freedom Day by
Yes.
thanking the men and women that have given me my freedom.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
so much to everyone serving and who has served
Absolutely.
previously.
I appreciate that as well. Also, I have a guest coming up later in the program, Dr. Joshua D. Mesrich. He is the doctor who has put out a new book called When Death Becomes Life, Notes from a Transplant Surgeon. So that ought to be fun. I'll be chatting with him later in the show. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Want a good laugh to start every day? We do, and you can too. Be sure to follow WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com on Facebook. Every morning we send out our Weird Gift of the Day. You don't even have to buy anything. You can just follow our page and laugh at the bizarre real gift items we find and share every morning. And maybe you can share them with your friends who have a good sense of humor too. We have a link to make it easy to find us at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Time now for surveys and studies and such. Biotech study claims that humans will soon be able to download their soul onto a microchip that could be implanted into another body so they could live forever. Well, that's a little creepy.
Yeah, that's more than a little creepy.
I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but you got to think about something.
Yeah, good luck.
I'm just saying.
Good luck with that.
Think about this. Think of the implications of this. If you were able to do that, if you could download your soul into a different body, I mean,
I don't know how they figure that really works.
I'm
There's
not
no
sure.
way.
They're just saying this new company. I've got a link to it in the show notes if you want to read all about it. I'm not saying that I understand all of these surveys or studies or such, but this new study claims that they think they'll soon be able to do that. So there you go.
I'm not going to stand in line for that procedure.
I don't want to be the test subject for
I don't want to do it at all. When it's my time to go, I want to go. I don't want to
me
be
too.
in some other body.
Yeah, all right. Well,
That'd be weird.
It's
You have
weird.
to get used to new smells.
I was like, wait a minute, what is this? I didn't have muscles like this before. Biotech study claims humans may soon be able to download their soul into a microchip that could be implanted into another
Super
body
creepy.
to live forever. I've got a link in the show notes if you want to read all about it. That's at johnandheidishow.com.
Cable and dish companies keep jacking up their rates. Join the cable cutting revolution with ChannelSurferTV.com. Watch TV with no monthly fee. Our DVR lets you record shows and pause live TV with no monthly fee. Want to stream movies? We have a device for that too. It works with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and many other streaming platforms, so you can cut the cable and save a ton of money every month. Learn more at ChannelSurferTV.com. That's ChannelSurferTV.com.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police say a driver was arrested for driving under the influence after drinking vanilla extract.
I read about this, and you can because there is alcohol in it.
50-year-old Stephanie Warner Grease of New Canaan, Connecticut, I don't know if I said that right, was booked for operating under the influence after police were called to the scene of a vehicle stopped at this intersection in town there. 911 caller said the driver's eyes were closed. They responded, the officers did. There was a vanilla odor on her breath. Her speech was slurred, unable to answer basic questions. Several bottles of vanilla extract were allegedly found in the vehicle. Police say that she failed a sobriety test and was taken into custody. She refused a blood alcohol content test. She was scheduled to appear in court last Thursday.
Have you ever, it smells amazing, but have you ever tasted vanilla extract? It's horrible.
Is it? How do you know this?
Because I've tasted it.
You're like, so I get drunk off this?
Cooking, when I'm making cookies or whatever, and you dump the vanilla in, and you've got some on your finger, and I've licked it, and it's like, oh my gosh, that does not taste the way I expected it.
Now I need to try it, I suppose. It's
not good.
Very bizarre. What a weird story. That's what happens, though, when your brain is on vanilla extract. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway had a film called Serenity, and it was the biggest box office bomb of their careers.
I'd
It
never
opened
heard of it.
with just $4.8 million in sales. Yeah, that's a problem, Heidi. Nobody has heard of it, apparently. $4.8 million is all they did. Now, keep in mind, there are movies that make hundreds of millions in their opening weekend.
Yeah.
$4.8 million, so not good. That's too bad.
They must not have done a very good job promoting it.
When
'cause
they
I've
asked
never heard of
Matthew
it.
McConaughey, how do you think this movie went? He said, not all right, all right, all
Yeah,
right.
I knew what you were going to do. Wow.
Oh, boy. 11-year-old from the show This Is Us,
Nice transition.
Mackenzie.
You're just going to move right
Yeah.
on past that bomb.
Exactly. Mackenzie, I don't know how to say her name, Hackensack, I think. She's from the TV show This Is Us. She's 11. She sold Girl Scout cookies at the SAG Awards. I think that is awesome.
I bet she made a fortune.
I think she did. I think she did well. That is an entrepreneur right there. I think that's a really cool story. That's going to do it for Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Are you a fan of Quentin Tarantino?
Not even a little.
There are some of his movies I think are really interesting, and I don't know that I would say I'm like a super fan or anything, but there's a Quentin Tarantino-inspired bar that is opening in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. It has artwork dedicated to his films, and I have a link to a story about that if you're interested in it. I think that's interesting. So, like a Pulp Fiction section, maybe, and I don't know. I'm not sure what they would do there exactly. Because what are some of his other movies? I can't even think of the
I'm
other
not a
ones.
fan of his, so
So
the stuff I have seen, it's just so
It's
freaking
very
weird,
bizarre.
and I
It's-
can't watch it.
It is all quite bizarre. A guy by the name of Chris Christie, you've heard of him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Former New Jersey governor.
Yep.
He has a new book out about his time in politics. Should I reach out and see if he's interested in doing an interview?
No. That's fine.
We don't do political stuff here. So I was testing you to see what you would
You
say.
were
Heidi.
testing me.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
You passed the test.
I see.
A new report claims that Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos. Boy, hang on. Let's pause for a second. Can you kick the guy while he's down?
Yeah, he's
I
had
mean,
a heck of a
he's
time.
Not had a great 2019 thus far.
You know what,
He's
though?
going
That's
through
all
divorce.
on
Oh, I know.
him.
That is. He's going through divorce, which was self-inflicted because he was having a little extramarital, You don't do that. That's bad. But now it's like when it rains, it pours. I've not seen any positive news for him this year. Have you? Seen nothing.
No, I
Take
don't
a
pay
listen to this
attention to
one.
him either. I think you should keep his Bezos to himself.
Would you just stop it? He was just spreading his wild Bezos. A new report claims that Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos gives slightly less than 1% of his income to charity. So, but when you think about how much he makes, that's still a lot of money. A lot of money. But it's less than 1%, so now people are all up in his grill about that, too. So there you go. I think that's the first time I've used that phrase. It sounds really funny coming out of me, doesn't it?
If only his mistress's name was Charity, then that statement would have been false.
Oh, Heidi, I see what you did there. A survey by American Gaming Association found that Americans are expected to gamble on a football game this weekend. Have you heard anything about this?
I've heard a little something,
There's some rumblings
something here and there.
Yeah, to the tune of $6 billion.
Yikes.
Yeah, $6 billion with a B. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot
It's a lot of money.
It is.
$6 billion is how much people were going to be gambling on the Super Bowl. And what number is this? LIII. What is that? 53? Is that 93? 103?
I don't know. I don't even know what the L is.
I think that's the 50. So I think this is Super Bowl 53. Somebody's going to probably reach out and let me know just how dumb I am. I don't know.
I'm not a Roman numeral expert. I know that's probably surprising.
I know. It does shock me. The only time we use Roman numerals in our society is for clocks and Super Bowls. That's the only. You see them anywhere else? No. Never. You never see the Roman numerals.
Well, behind the names of hoity-toity people who are like the fourth generation.
Oh, yeah. But that's from a long time ago. It's like King Louis VIII. I think they use a Roman numeral for that. What is it? A VIII. think that's what it is. I'm going to move on. We don't know our Roman numerals. And whatever teacher it was that told me I would need to know this in the future, and I said, I'm not going to need to know that. I apologize. I probably should have paid attention. You are correct. And one last story. According to Austin, Texas police, an alleged bank robber identified last Friday due to him using a dockless e-scooter to get away. It was his getaway vehicle. 19-year-old Luca Mangero was charged with robbery. Here's what happened. He robbed the place, and then he took off on this very bizarre scooter that he had rented from a company. And all they had to do is take a look at who it was. It's a company called Jump by Uber. So they looked to see who rented the scooter, and it was this guy, and they caught him. It was that easy. That wasn't very smart. Dude, what were you doing? No, that's just not as smart. Well, I mean, don't rob banks is what I should be saying. So, yeah, don't rob banks, but definitely don't rob banks and, use a getaway car that is really easy to identify. Not smart. Very not smart. This is today's Scoop of the Day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
At FunkyMonkeyShirts.com, we want to remind you it's never too early to start thinking about Valentine's Day. And what says I love you better than awesome matching fun t-shirts? Get something for your sweetie and for you. We have several his and hers t-shirt designs to choose from at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Let the world know how much you love one another. And wear your heart on your sleeve. Well, at least on your shirt. With a little help from FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. We've got a guest joining us today that's going to talk about a new book, When Death Becomes Life, Notes from a Transplant Surgeon. And we have that transplant surgeon, Dr. Joshua Mesrich, joining us. How are you, sir?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Now, is this your first book that you've done?
Yes, it's my first book. I've been working on it for about 3 or 4 years now.
And how long have you been a transplant surgeon? How long is that something that you've done?
Yeah, so I finished my training in 2007. I started my internship in surgery in 1997, so it was about a 10-year training period.
And is that is that something that you dreamed of doing as a child, or what was it that made you decide I want to be a transplant surgeon?
It's funny. I feel like in a lot of ways I kind of stumbled into medicine. My dad had gone back to medical school late in life when I was in third grade, but I don't remember really thinking about it. But there was this one night on the first day of my surgery rotation where I had been up all day and it was midnight and I got thrown into this operation and it was a kidney transplant. And I'll never forget when we released the clamps and this kidney turned pink and urine just started squirting out all over our hands, how amazing that was, that someone had died and we were able to put this organ in and it just starts working. I just was blown away.
That is amazing. When you think about that, that you can have something that, fails in one person and that it's causing a life or death situation with them, but because of the absolute generosity of an organ donor saying that, hey, I'm done with mine anyway, you can have it. How cool is that to see, like you say in the title of your book, When Death Becomes Life, to see something that's dead become alive again?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that's kind of the basis of why transplant is so amazing. All other areas of medicine, we're trying to kind of fend off death, and it's inevitable ultimately, but maybe the role is either to push it off or to at least have someone have a good death. But in transplant, we kind of start with death, and it is this way to bring something positive to these families and to kind of bestow this gift, this legacy, and it's just both a beautiful thing. It's amazing science. It was amazing progress that was made over a short period of time. It's an incredible field that way.
Again, visiting right now with Dr. Joshua Mesrich. He's the author of a new book, When Death Becomes Life. Now, in the book, I was reading through some of the reviews, and this one says, organ donors are the real heroes in Mesrich Enlightening Transplant Chronicle. So how important is it to you to have organ donors out there?
If people take one thing from this book, it's about what heroes the donors are, both living donors and deceased donors. They're kind of amazing people. I really like to believe the deceased donors are my patients as well. But even thinking about living donors, these people choose to undergo an operation, kind of this leap of faith. And though donors do very well, it's still a lot of the unknown. And they do that not to help themselves, but to save someone else, to kind of join them in their illness. And I just feel kind of privileged to be a part of that gift. And I feel like it's a huge responsibility to make sure that it works out, which it usually does.
And what is the difference between having a donor organ and having like an artificial? Because I've seen things where there's artificial heart, artificial different organs. What's the difference between having an actual donor organ and an artificial organ?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the donor organs, do really well for long periods of time, 10, 20 years, sometimes even more than that. Most of the artificial organs, like we think about maybe a mechanical heart or something like that, they tend to be kind of temporary. They've been fraught with problems. They've not traditionally been a good long-term option. People are still working on that. But clearly, in order to actually live a real life, you need a real transplant if you have organ failure.
Well, Dr. Mesrich, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, and thank you for putting out this book.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Again, the book is called, I'm going to try that again. Again, the book is called When Death Becomes Life, Notes from a Transplant Surgeon by Dr. Joshua Mesrich. He's been our guest today. We'll have a link to this book in the show notes today at johnandheidishow.com.
Cable and dish companies keep jacking up their rates. Join the cable cutting revolution with channelsurfertv.com. Watch TV with no monthly fee. Our DVR lets you record shows and pause live TV with no monthly fee. Want to stream movies? We have a device for that too. It works with Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, YouTube, and many other streaming platforms, so you can cut the cable and save a ton of money every month. Learn more at channelsurfertv.com. That's channelsurfertv.com.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Did you know that high heels were originally for men?
No.
Yeah. It says here, when high heel shoes were invented, they came into fashion in the 10th century. They were intended for men. That was in the 10th century, by the way. It wasn't until the 18th century that more women wore high heels than men. So back in the day, men would wear these to make themselves taller.
Well, that's bizarre.
So much taller now. Look at me. Look how tall I am. You got to take your shoes off and you're not so tall, Napoleon. So, high heels were originally meant for men. That's a fun fact right there on the John and Heidi Show.
At FunkyMonkeyShirts.com, we want to remind you it's never too early to start thinking about Valentine's Day. And what says, I love you, better than awesome, matching fun t-shirts? Get something for your sweetie and for you. We have several his and hers t-shirt designs to choose from at FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. Let the world know how much you love one another. And wear your heart on your sleeve. Well, at least on your shirt. With a little help from FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. That's FunkyMonkeyShirts.com.
Time now for fun with phobias. Here's a good one, Heidi. Barophobia. What do you think barophobia is? You're never going to guess this.
I don't know.
Barophobia. Barophobia.
I don't know.
Think about barometric pressure.
I still don't know.
Fear of gravity is what it is.
Okay.
How are you afraid of gravity?
I don't know.
I don't exactly know what that means, because if gravity wasn't here, wouldn't you just float away? So why would you be afraid of gravity? Some of these fears make no sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
I don't claim to be a clinical psychologist or nothing like that. Is that even a thing? I don't even claim to be whatever it is that would know these things. So, fear of gravity. It's today's fun with phobias.
Want a good laugh to start every day? We do, and you can too. Be sure to follow WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com on Facebook. Every morning we send out our Weird Gift of the Day. You don't even have to buy anything. You can just follow our page and laugh at the bizarre real gift items we find and share every morning. And maybe you can share them with your friends who have a good sense of humor too. We have a link to make it easy to find us at WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. That's WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. I just looked to see, and today's weird gift is an indoor snowball kit. You know, for those of you who didn't get enough cold weather the last few days, indoor snowball kit. Do we need one of those?
No.
Yeah, probably not. If you do, WeirdGiftOfTheDay.com. Here's the weird news. An SUV ended up in the water at a Florida beach when the occupants were too distracted by the lunar eclipse. Yeah, it's not a good idea. They were looking at the sky while they were driving, and they drove right into the water.
Wow.
They were watching that super blood wolf moon thing that happened.
Why weren't they parked
I don't
to
know.
watch
They
that?
should have stopped. It's not clear yet why they were doing that, but it says here none of the vehicle occupants were injured. a visitor to the beach in a similar situation in 2018 did the same darn thing.
Really?
Apparently, it's a good place to go. I don't know.
Well, just pull over to the side of the road and look at it. You don't drive while you're doing stuff like
the SUV in April of 2018, they did it when they were trying to launch a boat into the water and the truck pulled in too far, apparently. So these guys were driving and looking at a moon and the other guy was loading a boat.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Bizarre. But that makes it today's Weird News.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. A 47-year-old Arkansas woman allegedly tried running over a man with a vehicle, and then she damaged a gate as she drove away. That sounds like a busy weekend. Police there say in a statement they were responding to an apparent argument between a man and a woman on Saturday. Authorities say Suzanne Starks of Pine Bluff is wanted for aggravated assault on a family or household member after a man told her to leave, and she tried to hit him with a vehicle. The police say they did not list what time of day this incident happened. They've made no arrests, at least at the time of this story, when it was written, and they have not found Ms. Starks. Court records show that Ms. Starks filed for a restraining order against the man who the address was listed as the same time of the place that she was, she filed a restraining order against him, then she tried to run him over with a car.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
I don't think I made any of that very clear.
No, not at all, but that's okay.
But that's what happened, according to this
It's
story.
crystal clear now, so
Now
that's
it's
all
clear.
that matters.
Yeah, it's a busy Saturday right there. That's also today's Moment of Duh.
Every day, approximately 23 U.S. military veterans take their own lives. Big Paws Canine Foundation is helping to decrease that number, providing service and companion dogs to our disabled veterans and first responders injured in the line of duty. Partnering a hero with a specifically trained dog significantly reduces the incidence of suicide, and your support makes all the difference. Find out how you can help our American heroes. Join the pack at BigPawsCanine.com.
Heidi, I know you're going to be really, really sad, but this is our final dad joke of the day.
Oh, I'm so bummed.
I know. Heidi wept all night last night.
Wept.
That too. She was so sad. She wept and wept. It was a sad, sad night. She was so concerned about not having the dad jokes anymore. But
You're such a way with words.
I know.
Honey.
I'm a linguist. Here's the dad joke of the day. I went to the doctor, and they told me not to eat anything fatty. I said, like bacon or burgers? He said, no, fatty, don't eat anything. I like that.
That I can relate to.
Oh, yeah, me too. Dad jokes, we're going to miss you. Not really. We've got a brand new feature that'll be starting very, very soon at this same time, so be listening, and I'll tell you what it is as soon as I figure that out. All right, we've got good news coming your way. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. First of all, I got to just say, I think it's really cool. This guy, he is the oldest Nobel Prize winner, which that in itself would be really cool.
Right.
So to be the oldest Nobel Prize winner in itself is just a cool story. But it gets even cooler than that, Heidi.
He's like the oldest to win, or he's
Yes.
the oldest winner still alive?
It says, just because Arthur Ashkin just became the world's oldest Nobel Prize winner doesn't mean he's ready to retire. Instead, he has something bigger in mind. So if I didn't answer your question, I think it's, he's the oldest. The next sentence, I think, answers it. The 96-year-old inventor was awarded a 2018 Nobel Prize for physics. So there you
that
go.
answered my question.
In recognition for his work with optical levitation, a process of controlling the movement of microscopic particles using force of photons. I don't know what
I don't know what this means.
I'm not smart. I don't know.
Just smile
what it
and
is.
nod, honey.
Pretend like this makes sense. So he does some cool stuff. I think it's like levitation or something. I don't know. Despite that career-defining accomplishment, he allowed himself only a few moments to discuss his past work, and then he said, but I've got something else even better. He says, I'm not about celebrating that old stuff. I've got something new and important.
Old stuff.
And he talked about, he says, I'm working on solar energy, and I think I've gotten some important stuff, and the world badly needs science and climate change. And he's talking about how he's got this solar product thing he's working on to make electricity dirt cheap and
Sweet.
super efficient, and it's, basically it uses the sun.
Sweet.
So I think it's really cool. And as you read through the story, if you've got time, you want to read all about it, it just kind of talks a little more about what he's working on. But he wants to, what he says, save the world. That's a
lofty goal.
That is, but you know what? I think he's got a really cool idea here. So he received $500,000 for his Nobel Prize. I think that's really kind of cool. And
I need to come up with something where I can win the Nobel Prize.
We're going to work on that for 2019. But he
That's our goal.
He said with that,
let's put it on the vision board.
Yes, win Nobel Prize. Let's write it up there. I mean, I am working on my own company to do surveys and studies. We need in on some of that dough. But he said he's going out for a good meal, and the rest is all going to go to help pay for college for his kids and grandkids, and then he's going to save the world with this solar thing. So,
all right.
I think that's cool. I've got a link to that in our show notes. It's under the good news section in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Friday.